Well, hey, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, babies in arms out there in South Chicago and North New York and Southern Calcutta and Johannesburg and everywhere else in the world. How y'all doing, babes? Hmm, man, that is some good coffee. I got to get some more here in a minute. Let me check this thing, make sure we're getting out here, baby, as it says we are. Well, look at that. Good day to you. It's Grandpa Coyote coming to you once again here from the Rocky Mountain High out in Colorado, out here in the universe of love we call the San Luis Valley, the beautiful Sangre de Cristo Mountains, man. I hope I said that pretty close to right. Say, listen, guys, now I gotta tell you, there is a comment place somewhere, and I'm supposed to be able to see it. I'll have to go and spin it around to another room here so I can check it out. It's supposed to be able to give me comments, but I don't see it happening here. The picture's too big. Oh well, hey, we take it as it comes and go on the run, baby. I know it's there somewhere. They're usually down below here. Oh, there they are. Yep, so they're there, just nobody has commented because nobody has seen me now. So let's go over here on Facebook and make sure everybody's getting us. Let's see, where am I here? Okay, I'll check that because we know it's going out. There we are. And let me check that and make sure that's picking it up good. That says it is. Hey, I do apologize for being a few minutes right afternoon, but it's 12:11 right now. 12:11 here in the Mountain West, and we're looking good and doing our best. As well as can be expected under the circumstances. I mean, we got sunny skies and 50 degrees out there today, guys. We're living high on the hog. I love it. And it's about time, too, because, enough of winter already. It's middle of February. Wow. It's rare we get this warm a day in February, but it's awesome to have it, let me tell you. And I think it's just an indication of things to come. Now, you've heard me talking about the blue-green wave coming in and everything and all that. Let me get myself a cup of coffee. This is live. You don't mind. I'll be right back. Give me just a half sec here. You can watch my dog sleep on the bed for a minute. Yeah. Oh, gotta have fresh coffee, baby. Can't be sitting here gabbing your ear off without fresh coffee, now can we? No. Babies, I love you, and I'm always thinking of you, of course. That's what we do here, is support one another. Nobody to blame or at fault for anything. We're all in it together, and we're just trying to figure it out and get it right. You know what I mean? There we are. Everybody's coming in good. That's afternoon. Yep. Morning, afternoon. It's hard to keep track of these days, is it not? Yeah. So we're just going to kick back here and relax. I think I promised you a showdown today, did I not? Well, something like that's in the offing. So what I'm really telling you, it's a nice little metaphor. Maybe that's why I didn't make it by noon. No sense in having a high noon showdown. It's a silly thing, We've gone so many distances. I'm always thinking of the OK Corral, And the gunfights that the movies glorified, man. I'm telling you, it's just like perfect metaphor for the experience we're in today, Perfect metaphor. Because it really is like a showdown. It's the end of pretty much everything dark we've ever known. And you may think I'm pretty brash in saying such things and taking such a position, and hell yeah, I am. But that's just the way I am. Coyotes are brash. But what I'm telling you is, inside of yourself right now is the most amazing opportunity And I don't want any of you to miss it. There is a moment of divine awakening that basically opened to us yesterday. The energies have been going on for quite some time, so it's just another stage, another little, another little step in the trail, but there definitely is some divine opening and some incredible awakenings for those who are willing to receive of it and share it. It's a beautiful thing, and I know you all are feeling it. We put out some good vibes in the middle of the night on the old Coyote Medicine Show. If you're missing that on the HZ Radio Network, if you're missing that, you definitely want to be there. Midnight tonight, Eastern Time, 10 p.m. Mountain Time where I am, 9 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Central. We're on 6 nights a week, every night but Friday night for like 5 hours, from basically Eastern Time, midnight to 5 a.m. And we enjoy the dickens out of doing it, let me tell you. It's more fun than a barrel of monkeys. But, we're also unloosing some energies out there in the middle of the night. Playing a little old rock and roll and all kinds of different music. Boy, we take you for a musical experience and a ride. And then we give you back to yourself. Put your heart right in your hand so you can see it and know it. And love it and cherish it. It's there where you can see it and feel it, and then, of course, it's right there inside of your chest, too. But it's a state of being, a state of consciousness. So when I say I put it in your hands, I mean, I'm help you see it, make it visible. And, we usually associate and gather up, all of our energies in that time. And combine them and, make waves, with big old waves of love, and actually just amplify them because they're already here, they're already active. It's like a spiritual surf going on now, babies. And we're getting wave after wave after wave of amplifying love coming into the atmosphere now of the earth in a literal sense. Yes. The whole thing is happening because that's what we've ordered and asked for ourselves. So here it comes. And we did this quite some time ago, a long, long time ago. There were just certain steps we had to fulfill in the process to come to this stage of being that we are now. And those steps are fulfilled, So now is the time of the opening, the great awakening, in the presence of your own time frame, whatever that might personally be. See, we talk about planetary ascension and we talk about this thing on a huge scale, on a broad scope, but it really comes down to a personal, private experience between you, what you see of as you, and the truthful you that lives inside of you. Now, what I advocate on the radio show, and we can do it briefly here, but I put up a tape for it just the other day. I think it's called Awakening now. Check it out. But just go down inside and you find that little child, that little spark of life that you've left behind there in the heart area. Once you step down through any pain that might be there, any illusions, any guardians that might be there in one form or another. And when you get to that place, then you can embrace this light, this child as I call it, and bring it back into being. Nurture it just like a mother would. Just like a mother and her son, You've all got that. When they say the arisal of the divine feminine, these are the energies of which we're speaking, and the energies of nurturance, forbearance, love, graciousness, connection, heart. There's no finer love than a mother's love. You can be sitting on death row for heinous crimes and your mother's going to be sitting there right with you if they'll let her. You know what I mean? She doesn't see wrong. She just sees her son or her daughter, and she knows. Now, when I'm speaking on the broader sense, I know some of you have had mothers that weren't so kind. So, we go through a variety of experiences here. So when I'm speaking of the mother, I'm speaking of the divine characterization of her energy, her love. as it comes forward in you. And that's what it takes in each and every one of you, to find this stillness inside that will allow this great opening that I'm talking about. Many of you experiencing it already, even as I sit here and talk about it, because it's already there and you're ready and you're awakening to it. You know, and all it takes is a little tiny bit of energy pouring through me from the angelic realm to help you key it in. You know what I mean? That's all it takes, and that's all there really is to it. You know, we can talk about it for 3 hours, but it's just knowing that love inside, the loving one inside, the one. Now listen, we left this one behind many thousands of years ago. It's been a shriveled up, well, not really. It's been there in some portion, not shriveled, just miniaturized. It's been inside, in some portion, in some way, every lifetime we've ever lived, including this one. This one is the day, the moment, the time. You know, the 9 months have passed, or whatever the gestation period was, and now we're here rocking and rolling and ready to turn it loose. So there is where you go to embrace this change. If you want to see planetary ascension, it begins within you. And I don't care how enlightened you are or how much love you've shared in this world. And God bless you for it, man. I love you. Everybody does. You know, the more you've shared, the better we all are. But no matter what you've given or how high you've gotten, you're not high enough and you haven't given enough. Because you haven't let go of the thing inside that held you back. You know, so you're living it in one way, but you're not quite there in another. And you've just got to let go of all your preconceived notions of what this is or what it's supposed to be or how you think it should come out of you or where you should think it be going. You know, it's all right there inside of you right now, happening, working, growing. And I'm telling you, it's a very, very personal thing. You can't look to your ascendancy to another living soul. Yet every living soul's in it with you. But in the same way, it's personal. You go down deep, you dig. But you don't force yourself. You feel the nurturing love in you that lets you get through this little bit of pain you got left. Or this little bit of misjudgment or whatever little fallacy or illusion you're living in, because that is fallacy and illusion. If you're in pain, fallacy. If you're under the weather in any way, fallacy. You're dying of cancer, fallacy. You've gotten yourself in an illusion of fear, and it's killing you. But you can release yourself in any given moment and use what's at your means of disposal to forestall whatever illness or irritation that you have that'll get you by, that'll keep you alive until you find that moment inside when you can just let go of all of your preconceived notions. And I'm telling you, it goes level after level after level. We've built quite the little guardians around this specter of life in our heart. And babies, you're going to have to deal and negotiate with these guardians that you've erected so that you can get in there and get with the program. Oh, baby, it's not so serious as all that. But yeah, we have, and you do have to. You got, you know, inside, if you just recognize it. If you just recognize that there is an element inside that you feel very loving towards and very protective towards, and that, you know, all of your forces lightened have served to keep that element of life not only alive in you, but protected. Until this moment of awakening, until this time of divine intervention, until we had lived to such a state that as a collective in humanity, each and every heart called to creation says, hey, let's change this program. It's time. We've finished the trail. You know, our trail of tears, our trail of agony. Babies, we just love the drama. I mean, just recognize that. And you're halfway to letting go of it already. You know, if you just recognize that you get off on the drama. That you seem to need it, that you feel like it's a part of you now, that you can't let go. When you start to see that drama in this life feeds you, then perhaps when you see that, you can see the fallacy in it as well. Step past the illusion of it and begin to be the love that you truthfully are. It's a magic moment awaiting each individual person that lives here. And it starts with the human race. Because we are the children, the bearers of light, the love at the center of the divine cosmic mother's heart. If you can gather that to yourself, there's reasons why Earth has gone through the photon belt and is being drawn to the center of the galaxy, the center of the universe, because that's her normal and natural position as the nurturing mother that she are. And I say are, A-R-E, because it's all of us. It's every element of the earth working together to bring forth the light, the love, the reality of this experiential heart. And I know it's hard to believe because humans don't work together on much anything. When they do, it's pretty phenomenal. But, we can do so much better. Because, see, this doesn't follow commercial lanes of transport, so to speak. This doesn't follow the commercial way. This is done, first off, because it's fun. I just imagine how different this life would be if everybody in their life said, you know what, I'm not doing a God-blessed thing in this world anymore. I don't care about the money, that isn't fun. I'm still going to provide for myself and eat and so forth, but if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. If I'm not enjoying it, I'm not doing it, Can you imagine how different this world would be? Well, this is what your sinner soul is saying to you as well, right along with it. Deep down inside it's saying, if you ain't willing to let go, I ain't willing to be. If this isn't fun, I'm not stepping into it. Which, of course, is just its own way of encouraging you to get after it. Because, of course, it's going to step into it. Of course, it'd never refuse you, It's your love. It's your person. It's your heart. It's your personal strength, your ability to live. It's everything you've ever known yourself to be, and then some. Because you're only finding out now tiny little dynamics about this puny little person, this speck of dust in the wind, that we've been so long. And we still are that speck of dust in the wind. But man, we glitter and glow. And when you look our way, all of a sudden, your whole world, your whole creation has changed. That's how magic these little specters of dust are. And we work together, whether you know it or not, consciously, collectively. Give up the idea that you have a choice. That's the biggest farce you've been sold. It's a bill of goods, man, and it feeds your ego. Something awful. And the ego's not evil. The evil's good. The evil is good, yes. Well, it is. It's a matter of realigning it. Getting it in the right perspective of the heart. This is the unit that empowers your thinking capabilities into creation. You don't want to kill this part of yourself. Yes, it's been perceived as negative and dark, and it's led you in some awful goddamn places. And the older you get, the more you know not to go there, because it keeps teaching you that. But we have to give up the idea that it's something separate inside of us. That it's evil. It's nasty. It's no good. We got to kill it. Get rid of it. Throw it away. No. Don't give up any part of your person. Because when you go in there and you find this blessed being in the center of your heart, this beautiful love, this baby child, it's right there underneath all that shit you're fighting. This is a part of yourself. This is an extension of yourself. Yes, it's been quite warped. And we've been convinced inside that we live with a dualistic nature, which is a crock of shit. Yet we experience it. It's like, wow, that's the reality. How can he say that? Because inside it's obviously different. You go there. You draw your strength from the center, from the heart, from the universe that lives within you. You feel the love arising. You embrace all parts of your person. Doesn't mean you agree with behaviors, or ideas that come from some of those parts. It means that in this gracious love, you're accepting all of it as a part of your gracious existence. And in so doing, you're beginning the steps that will conform this unit of your person into complete conformity with all the rest of it. Get you out of this attitude that there's something wrong with you and into this attitude that everything is just all right. You don't have to worry about a thing. You just got to go and glow and stay in touch with your heart continually, which is to say the inner consciousness, the inner awakening, the inner awareness, the inner knowing, everything inside you that you feel with. The deeper the feeling, the more reliable the guide. So that's where you go with it. You go deep. And this will bring you out strong, babies. And it's personal. It's for each and every individual person to experience within themselves. Now you can view that as a choice. But it's really a motion of the collective when you're making that choice. You see what I mean? We don't make choices here. The choices are made through the collective. Your dingy little mind might think it's sitting there and battering over in 1,000 possibilities like a computer does, coming up with 2 or 3 that seem reasonable, coming up with one out of that shines. That might seem like the process you're going through. Some people think like that. A lot of people do. But that's the illusion you're living in. If there's a choice in there through all this random thinking, you're just searching for it because it's already there. And it was visible and obvious to you in the first place. And there was no choice. It's obvious. You see what I mean by the conscious collective? We have created the right path for ourselves, the correct area, the correct movement. It doesn't take any spiritual knowing or awareness to follow it. It just takes a simple willingness to be who you are, to know in every moment what it is to do because you already do, to feel that, to live that because it's already there. You've just stuffed it and contained it and kept it away from yourself because that's what you've been taught to do since you were tiny. I don't care if you were raised in a spiritual home, so-called. Same difference. I mean, that's a lot freer than some existences, and in some cases, it's a lot worse. It's a lot more confining. It's a prison of belief, of thought. And you imprison yourself and your children the same way you were imprisoned in that. But that's all another story, but we step right out of those kind of prisons when we step into the heart, into the inner knowing, the awareness, the awakening. And boy, I do love to stumble on my words lately, having a good time doing it too. And you ought to see me typing, fumble fingers, man, I tell you. I'm a better typist than that, but man, I type one line, make 5 typos. I can't believe it, man. It's just like, wow. Where did all my consciousness go? Maybe I'm disconnecting from this reality. I don't want to do that either. You don't want to detach. You can detach from the drama, sort of. You just learn to appreciate, by that I mean, you just learn to appreciate the drama in a slightly different way. That is to say, you begin to see the joke in all this seriousness, the comedy in the way we live, how we just love to pick on one another and commune on one another, and as long as we're picking outside of ourselves, we're not dealing with what's inside of ourselves. And so that tells us a lot about ourselves, and maybe we should just back up and, stop picking on ourselves, man, and get to rocking and rolling, strumming and strolling, and truthfully learn to enjoy this life from the point of being the presence of love, the divine nature within ourselves. That's the message today. That's the life you're living. That's the life you're given. That's the heart of consciousness coming into being, coming into play. Just be that person that you are, man. Give yourself the time. There's 2 or 3 tapes now I've got on my YouTube channel here that'll help you find the way, if you need it. I just suggest you just go do it yourself. You don't need another person to guide you or direct you in any way, especially those of a more spiritual or religious nature. Those were here for a long time to help remind you that such things do exist, because people had gotten pretty damn stupid and pretty damn lame inside, and there wasn't much consciousness. So that kept the energies of enlightenment alive. That and the few little, beings that came along throughout history and carried that energy for us, in that lifetime. Male and female, there's been a lot. Prophets and profiteers and all kinds of different beings. We have to get away from all this spiritual terminology. We got to learn to quit addressing things even in spiritual terms and just see it as life and just live it because it is life, and not go to some authority or some book to justify our behavior, because that means there's something wrong with your behavior to start with if it needs justification. We need to clean it up. If we can't just enjoy being the human being person that we are right now in this moment, if we're constantly critical or criticized by others or whatever, we're not living it, babies. If we're living in that wave of love, and it's just opening. I don't care how many thousands of years you've been around or anybody else. It's just opening to you as a human being, as a human heart. The consciousness had to reach a certain level collectively before this could be. And now the vibrational harmony of this earth is raised to that point in the perceptual way, in the way that we live it. It's raised to that point where now it's an opening of a gateway called. Such is available to every personal human being alive in this life. And then consciously extending into the rest of creation, for everything else has made that choice as well. You see how it works? So just give yourself credit for staying alive long enough to get here. Whatever you had to go through to do it, it's all right. It's perfectly real. It's perfectly acceptable inside of you, And tune into the radio show tonight, and let's keep the flames growing. Let me get back over here to the long old comment. Somebody's going crazy over here. You give me too much, I'm not going to read it. I'll just skip over it. Yep. I'm sorry, guy. I'm skipping over anybody that talks too long. Oh, baby. Oh, man. Oh, who is this? Somebody's going crazy on here. Oh, well. Hey, Debbie, how you doing? Hey, Linda, and all the rest of you, hang on. I don't know who this other guy is that's having such a time of it, but thank goodness he can't talk back to me directly. You wouldn't hear a thing. And neither is he. But we all catch on in our own way, and in our own right, and in our own time. And I'm never critical of another being, or try not to be. Shit, I've made my errors in this department, but let's just say, in this life, as I stand right now, I try not to look into anybody else's beliefs with disdain. Sometimes when they're harassing me a little bit, then it's a little more difficult. But, I just try to take a forgiving stance in everything, because nobody really means it. Most of us are in the state of consciousness where we're not aware of what the hell is happening to us or anybody else. We think we are. We think we're fully conscious, but we're not. And as you become aware of these levels inside and around you, how this operates, the dynamic of personal interconnection. And the only way I can really show you this to you is take you very deep. And this isn't the moment or the time of it on this live show. I do this at night on the radio, if you can endure a little bit of old rock and roll, and maybe even a little bit of folk ballads and stuff like that from back in the day, I bring up all kinds of music, and we play it in a very harmonious way. It kind of flows together. It's a completely spontaneous show. But in a way, in a mechanical sort of way, it's setting up the energy, and we do it here too on YouTube, but it's setting up the energy of the mechanics of the transition within you, basically, helping you get it right, because in me exists that light and love that can show you the way, because it's in you. See, so I sit here and reflect into this movie camera, and you reflect back to me, and you see, and you know, because we're just raising each other's vibrational harmony. We're in that divine imprint, doing what we do and loving what we are, because that is what we are. It's such a comedy, but such a poetically beautiful one. And guys, in these times, they're really changing. You know, as we become more conscious, be prepared to let go of every belief you've ever held. I don't care what it is. Let it be challenged. Let it be changed. Don't hold yourself to any limitation. I don't care who's taught you or how thoroughly they've brainwashed you. If you can see it, you can let go of it. And become consciously aware of it by going inside of yourself several times a day if you can. It eventually becomes a habit, and you stay in communion at all times, if you're not doing it already. But it's a vibrational harmony. It's a flow. It's a feeling. It's not something anybody else can teach you. It's something you already know. It's something you can help others awaken to, and others can help you awaken to, yes. But that's the extent of it. We're here to light each other's fire. And somebody has to have the first match and flame, and, you know, it's already ignited now. So we're just catching hold of that wave and moving on in it. Babies, like I've said before, hang on to your green jeans. This is bound to get real interesting. But just remember, now expect personal changes in your life. You may change residence. You may just pack up one day and blow. You may stay together forever with whom you're with now, but you may just as easily part. Everything is changing, babies. You will no longer live. As you become conscious of the untruthful elements in your life, you will not live with them. You will change them. It's as simple as that. And just remember, embrace all the divine parts of your person, no matter what form they've taken or how they display themselves inside or outside of yourself. Just embrace it all. You know, doesn't mean you got to take shit from anybody. Doesn't mean you can't draw a line. Doesn't mean you can't be angry. Doesn't mean you can't be sad. Means you usually won't be. Not in this state of being, because you know. You're consciously aware of what is happening. You know. I see that thing on the side bouncing a bit. I wonder if we got, oh, yep, somebody's still going to town with it. So Peggy, type your question out real quick and put it down there right now, and maybe I'll get it. And we can get it answered real quick, because this guy, Joel, just stop with it, man. You're not doing anybody any good, not yourself, not anybody. If you can put a question down in 2 or 3 succinct words, great. Otherwise, just cut the crap. You're just plugging it up for everybody else, and that ain't fair. Love you, dude, but, you know, gotta be reasonable here, man. Who do you think you are? You know? Okay, let's see if I can find Peggy's comment. What is your view of UFOs? Oh, that's real easy, man. They're there. You know, most of them that you see in this reality are some of our own people with mistaken coordinates, or, you know, there's little wobbles in time and shit. You can get knocked around a little bit. So a lot of the ships you see that just pop out of nowhere, and they're in the sky for a little bit, moving around and maybe doing circles and shit, and then they just disappear. Those are usually earthbound units, you know, one sort or another. Units made here on Earth by human hands. And you can usually tell those because they have really well-defined lines. But now there are these more oval-shaped ones. They come in all kinds of varieties and shapes, but they're more of an opaque thing. They're usually kind of silvery looking. If you see them in the daytime, at night they look like shiny stars until they get closer to you, then you can see the outlines. But they always look a little transparent, like they're not quite all here. Even when they're sitting on the ground and persons are getting in and out of them, they will have that appearance. Not many people have seen that here in visible reality, but even though it goes on all the time. My main view of the UFOs is, and the ones I'm speaking of, mainly are angel machines. You know, angels use these to get around, and there are the various ET races and so forth, but it's a single collective consciousness expressed in a myriad of ways inside of the dynamic I call the matrix. which is kind of the hologram in which we live, which includes the universe around us. So then the view we have of the universe is warped through the perception of the matrix. So what we're seeing, in other words, ain't necessarily what we're getting. What we're seeing isn't necessarily what's real, even though you can prove all this motion and action and reaction and all that crap. You know, it still isn't a fair representation of the reality of the truthful universe, for all its beauty, of the truthful universe in which we live. Conscious eyes and hearts see past the presence of the matrix. The matrix is a thought form, a way of thinking, a mechanical way of behaving that's been implanted in us by some invaders a long time ago. It's part of an experiment, or an experience as we call it in spiritual terms, in living. And that's where what got us where we are now. It's the age of darkness that we've just been through. But, you know, everything in this earth paradigm since way back when, further than we can remember, has been within the terms of this matrix. So everything we see in the universe around us may not necessarily be exactly as we're seeing it. Now there's things, this is why you get into the inner knowing. There's ways of knowing whom you're dealing with if you start to have an encounter. And you know, if you realize yourself as having complete control of the situation, you'll never freak out. You might, you know, get chills up your back and your hair might raise because it's been a while since you've seen this kind of stuff. But if you realize in your heart that you're a feeling, knowing, aware person, awake inside, then you can feel the energy of anything, any being or craft in the air or wherever else it might be. You have that feeling, that knowing, that conscious awareness inside. And I mean, you don't even have to see people stepping out of a spaceship. You look inside of it with your feelings. You look at it with your feelings. You already know what's there. And then if it's something you feel that is contrary to, you can instantly repel it. Just put out your hand and say, go away. It's gone. If you do this in love, you got complete power and authority over everything. So I know there's a lot of talk floating around about this race and that race and that race and that race, all propping up the earth, and they're all going to save us. Yeah, right. There's a bunch of them here cheering us on. There is one of the largest, if not the largest gathering of beings that there's ever been in the entirety of the universe, surrounding and filling the earth right now. I mean, this much is true because these are exciting times for the entire universe. You got to remember, we're all in this together. You know, all of our space brothers and sisters and everybody else, they're really star beings, and they're really, and there's an alternative existence to this one, which we call paradise, which is really not divided away any more than your ego is inside. It's just seeing past those states that say that is, and then we are there, back with everybody, everything we've ever known and loved in our own conscious presence. It's a personal paradise for each being that lives. And you create it in yourself through the allowance. Seeing through all the bullshit that you've been taught that says you were bad, you were indifferent, you're too enlightened, whatever it's been, you've been fed, just letting go of it. Seeing it first so you can let go of it. And then just let go. Just let it go and be. And the way you let go is by being loving inside to all elements of yourself. And through love you can release anything from you. Through love you can recreate your entire earth. And through love you will see the opening of the divine paradise you have so long awaited. You won't be looking so much to another for support to get you there. But you may be willing to share that. You may find a partner that perfectly reflects you. In these times, as you raise your vibe, you quite naturally bring the vibe forward in another that may match you. They might be halfway around the earth. They might be right next door. They might be sleeping right next to you right now. Who knows? But wherever they are, they'll come to you. And you'll have something to share. Some gaining, but it will never be from a needful place. I love you, I need you, I want you. Sorry, guys. That doesn't cut it. Love doesn't need anything. It has everything, and it wants to share it. There's the biggest difference you're going to find in every element of your life. Papa loves you guys, and I'm really thinking of you. Let's see if there's anything else. Awesome, Peggy. I'm glad we got there. Oh, well. Hey, guys, I really love you. I do. And it's the beginning of a new and beautiful conscious day for everyone that's out here in the human fields of life to play. And that includes many beyond us, too. We're all joined and resonating in one heart. And I'm sorry there has been so much unconsciousness in this world as to allow such disinformation as there is out there. Whatever you've attached onto or whatever's attached on, just don't worry about it. Be that until it plays out and let it go when it's time's up. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. Just, if that's your way of seeing divinity, see it that way for now. But just keep going here and then let them follow these inner knowings, these inner feelings. They're not against anybody's religion as far as I know. And if they are, tough shit. Religion takes a back seat to personal awareness. That's the key, babies. It's in each one of us, in every one of us. And the more that awaken to it, the more that will. We share. Like I say, when you're in this state of love, you don't want or need for anything, and you're willing to share everything. In fact, more than willing, you want to share everything. It's quite a different state of being, babies. We're getting there, and we're getting there fast, too, babies, because the acceleration, I gotta tell you, was put into place, a few thousand years ago. And we're just participants in that now. And because of that little bit of acceleration, then we get this little bit of acceleration, and we got that key energy at that time and that key energy at that time, to such a state that since 1994, our ascendancy in a personal way has been assured. Welcome to the new paradigm, everybody. Grandpa Coyote loves you. Catch me tonight on the Rock and Roll Medicine Show, the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the HeyZ Radio Network, HeyZradio.com, and we'll take it from there, babies. It's going to be a lot of fun. Midnight Eastern Time. And then, of course, be watching my YouTube channel, Peter Coyote, with a K, and I'll always be putting up some new material, and we'll just keep this thing flowing and growing. In fact, I've been trying to have some computer problems this week, so, and I got 3 of them. But anyway, I was trying to do some video and it wasn't working, but we're going to try and get some video of the radio show too. So, and post that up to YouTube without music so we don't have any problems with rights and stuff. But just post a few excerpts from the night. You can see how spontaneous nature of the show, how it works and so forth. So I'll get that up sometime this week, I reckon, hopefully I've got most of my technical difficulties taken care of, but you know how it is. It just keeps coming up. Hey, I love you guys, and here we go, loop-de-loop, here we go, loop-de-lie, here we go, loop-de-looping, baby. All we can do now is fly, sail, soar into the presence of heart, the presence of person, the presence of being that we are. Thanks, guys. I love you. Let's see if there's anything else I need. Nope, that's about it. I love you, and we'll talk to you next time here on my good old YouTube channel. Appreciate you tuning in live today, and catch you in a bit. And that's now I got to go find the page and turn the thing off, and you know how it is. Okay, there we are. Love you guys. Rock and roll. See you soon.